game that started it all, the Capital Classic, long since a staple of the local basketball scene, continues, and again with some new blood in the mix at the Capital Classic. Jeremy Huber here today talking Capital Classic with Pete DEOUDES, the CFO of the Capital Classic and Hoop Culture. Also, BJ Kubarulis, the founder of DMVSTREAM. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're excited to have Pete in studio and talk about the game that started it all. What an amazing thing to be a part of.
Yeah, a fun event. It's been around forever. Anyone who grew up in the DMV knows all about the Capital Classic. Pete, we'll start with you. The history of this game dates all the way back to 1974. Bob Gagan started it, and some of the who's who of basketball have been a part of this game.
Absolutely. Bob had a vision in 1974 to bring the best in the U.S. to here to face off against the best of the DMV. In 1974, he brought Moses Malone, who was being heavily recruited by Lefty Driesell, to play here at the new Cap Center. You're seeing footage here from that game, and that's continued ever since. In 1977, the 40th anniversary this year, Magic Johnson played in the Capital Classic. It's the only high school All-American basketball game that Magic played in. 1979, what was touted as the Battle of the Giants, Ralph Sampson faced off against Sam Bowie. A couple years later, in 1981, Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing faced off for the first time ever on the floor of the Capitol Center before they faced off in college and in the NBA. Most recently, in 2002, we had Carmelo Anthony, Andre Iguodala, Amari Stoudemire playing in the game. 2003, the last time was at the Verizon Center before we brought it back to the Verizon Center this year. LeBron James was there, and it was a complete sellout. 2008, Klay Thompson, Splash Brother, Capital Classic U.S. team. And then most recently, you know, guys, local presence, Chris Jenkins and Josh Hart of national champion Villanova from last year were on the team, along with Nate Brett and Luke May, MVP of the 2015 game. So this goes back, you know, 44 years now. It's a long and storied history of the game.
And you mentioned bringing it back to the Verizon Center. So important for you guys to kind of have it back at the premier venue in the area when it comes to big-time basketball.
Absolutely. If we're going to compete on the national stage and make this game what it once was, as you said, this is the game that started it all. It birthed the McDonald's All-American game in '78. It birthed the Jordan game. It has to be played at the Verizon Center. It's the premier venue here. We've had great games at the Verizon Center. It's the place it needs to be.
And again, it is back there this year, and really with a good purpose and a good, should be a fantastic venue. Now, we talk about purpose. That's also big for you guys. Pete, really this event, it helps sponsor the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Washington. Service has always been a big part of this game, correct? Absolutely.
We've always done this game with an event philanthropy approach. That's what Bob's vision was born on. And Tom Doyle, my partner, who's the CEO of Hoop Culture and the CEO of the Capital Classic, we're continuing that. We picked the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Washington. It syncs right in with our purpose and basketball in general. It's something that's affordable for kids, gets them active, and it's more than just about the game and providing monetary benefits to the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Washington. We're doing a series of clinics leading up to the game at the Boys and Girls Clubs that have basketball gymnasiums. We're bringing in Pat the Rock, Patrick Robinson from our Skills Academy in Rockville, Maryland, to conduct basketball and life clinics with the boys and girls, members of the Boys and Girls Clubs. And we're going to continue that post-game at the Academy as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, one of the many folks who've had a history with the Capital Classic, a guy you saw on your screen, Morgan Wooten, the legendary coach at DeMatha. Coach Wooten, in the past, has had a chance to talk about his association with this premier event, the Capital Classic.
You know, as you look at Morgan Wooten and all the great players that he's had at DeMatha, what was it like for you to have the Michaels and the Magics and the Dominiques and all these players, the Johnny Rose, the Joe Smiths, all these great ones that you've seen come through this Classic?
Well, it's just a dream to sit there and watch them, and in that particular case, to coach some of them. And of course, you're always so tempted, you want to put your offense in to see how well the great ones would run it. But I think what you do, and this is what most all-star coaches do, they let the kids go out and play. That's what the fans come to see. And you're just seeing high school basketball at its best. The thing I love about it, Doc, is it's so much fun to say, Michael Jordan, I saw him play back when he was a senior in high school. Moses Malone, you know, Isaiah, you go right down the line, Magic. Yeah, I saw them when they were just in the 12th grade. and that's a lot of fun when you look at them now.
Legendary Morgan Wooten talking with Rick Doc Walker about coaching some of the greats of the game in the Capital Classic. What an opportunity for a guy who's seen many greats through his years. You see some of the alumni on your screen, so many of the who's who of the basketball scene over the years. Well, of course, a new element of the Capital Classic this year is the involvement of DMV Stream. BJ, that's where you come in.
Sure.
Obviously, you guys bring an interesting element to this. Tell the folks about what you guys bring to the table in your association with the Capital Classic.
Sure, yeah. So first of all, we're excited to be joining this event. This is the premier event in Washington for basketball and maybe in the entire country. And here's why I say that. You know, with what we do at DMVSTREAM.com, we're out and about. We see these kids, we see these players, and what do we always say, Jeremy? We say the best basketball in the country is pound for pound in the DMV, and that's what DMV stands for in the DMV Stream, is DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And bringing these kids, like you see Kenny Anderson from back in the day, from New York, right, to come and play against the Chris Likes of the world and all the local talent that we've seen come through this venue. People are always comparing, right? One of the more fun things to do is to compare. So what we'll do is we will take this local event from Verizon Center and we're going to stream it live. You see our crew in action here. This is our crew streaming the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference Championship. We've done that at DMVStream.com over the last several years from American University. Jeremy, you've been on that call.
It's fun.
So many guys. You see the #1 pick in the draft here, Markelle Fultz, on your screen. And so, you know, what we're going to do with the Capital Classic is we're going to give it that touch that our production crew gives every basketball game that we're a part of. We're going to do multiple camera angles, instant replay, graphics. You see interviews with the coaches there on your screen. You see our crew in action. And what we've been able to do as a group is to take a television style approach, the technology that you use to produce television, and use that for producing for the web. And Pete and I were talking before this that this game has taken so many forms over the years and so many different types of broadcasts with all the different broadcast companies that have been a part of it. But what we think is very special and important with the rise of social media is we're going to make this global. Anybody in the world can watch this game streaming live on your computer, tablet, mobile device at DMVStream.com, also simulcast at CapitalClassic.com, and also on the Capital Classic Facebook page. So being able to take your phone and watch the game, and you see, you know, more great players from you know, throughout the years. Andre Iguodala, you know, for the Golden State Warriors, now a champion, Iggy as we know him. So to be able to see these guys at that level, the next generation of these future NBA players, Amari Stoudemire there dribbling the ball, right? To see them now live on your phone, your mobile, free of charge, and be able to just see these kids live is, we're excited about being able to bring that element to the game. So we're thankful to Pete and the group that have allowed us to be a part of the great history of this game.
And you should be. And of course, one of the interesting things with you guys, you do a whole lot of things. Let's take a look at the DMV Stream crew in action when they broadcast the Georgetown University's Midnight Madness.
Today, we're at McDonough Arena on the campus of Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., where we're tasked with broadcasting the basketball team's Midnight Madness event live to our client's Facebook page at the Washington Post. Now, considering that this venue is not truck-friendly, we've instead rolled out our Fly Pack kit for this event. Our Fly Pack allows us to produce a multi-camera stream live to the web by marrying together a series of state-of-the-art products and production tools for one easy setup. Now, we've built out our kit and run 4 independent camera angles back to our NewTek TriCaster. Our director is then producing a live show for the viewers at home. We've also tapped into the in-house network, the internet, which allows our director to pull in live graphics from an independent graphics operator who's working on his own system and feeding graphics across that network. Now, even though you can stream directly out of TriCaster, we've opted instead to pull an independent feed directly into an independent encoder called the Teradek VidiU. This great product simply allows you to take an HDMI feed and you can encode that broadcast separately directly to the client's platform, which today is the Washington Post Facebook page. We've run our own audio back from our staging area where our talent is telling the story for the viewers at home. We've also pulled an audio feed from the in-house PA so we can switch over to the in-house DJ whenever we want to send that audio to our viewers at home. All right, for more great videos like these and to learn more about how to broadcast your event, go to DMVStream.com.
course, a fantastic look at what DMV Stream has done with Georgetown, of course, bringing their expertise to the Capital Classic bet with Pete and BJ. And Pete, want to talk a bit, we saw the technical aspect there, some of the internet type things, some of the social media type things. Want to hit on hoop culture or the other parts of your background in this. What does hoop culture bring to the table?
Absolutely, thanks, Jeremy. What's really important there is hoop culture. This is the second year that we've been the lead sponsor of the Capital Classic, and we're very excited to bring it back to the Verizon Center. And we're utilizing our social media network, all that we have, about 5 million followers, about 100 million impressions, to highlight this game, to highlight this game's history, to highlight the current players. We tweeted out the other day about Clark Kellogg and Dominique Wilkins shared the '79 MVP award from the game that I touted of Sam Bowie against Ralph Sampson. Right, Dominique tweeted back. You know, it's just amazing. And you know, we're running highlights of Chris Likes, of the players on the U.S. teams on our Instagram, Crazy Crossovers, and they're getting 80,000, 120,000 views in an hour. It's amazing, and we want to continue that.
Should be fun. Again, good with you guys kind of getting the message out through social media, something DMV Stream also does very well. Well, let's get in the meat and potatoes of this thing, folks. The players playing in this event, of course, 4 total teams, 2 games. Let's go ahead and first take a look at the District All-Star roster. And Pete, some really quality players on this roster.
Absolutely. The district team, along with the suburban team, which represents Virginia and Maryland, that game has always been known as a scholarship game.
Yes. The
game where players that are undecided or might not have been offered scholarships get to face off against some of the toughest competition in the area and ultimately can land a scholarship, which is very important. So we love that game.
We see some of the folks on the screen there, some of the guys, again, playing some high-level competition, playing in this game. Kyrie Walker, guy out of Bullis, of course, he's going to Delaware, but another really top guy, Eddie Scott, as well, from Gonzaga. So a lot of top-notch talent on the district team. Let's go ahead and take a look at these suburban all-stars. And Pete, as you mentioned, these are the guys outside of the city, but again, can really play.
Absolutely, absolutely. Come from a lot of great schools, going to some good colleges, and then some still looking for some college choices. So we're very excited about that game. That game will start at 11 a.m. It's the prelim game, again, the scholarship game as I referred to it.
We saw a few of these guys lately. Nana Poku, really a fun one to watch, going to Mount St. Mary's. He'll be one I'm sure will make the Verizon Center crowd pretty happy to watch. Well, let's go ahead and look at the rest of the rosters. The the Capital All-Star roster. And again, you see some really good ones. Darren Barnes out of Y is one of them.
Yeah, let me jump in here, guys, because these are a lot of the kids that we often get a chance to see, out and about at some of the games that we're at. And, we're running some highlights there of some of these kids. I mean, they're so impressive, and a lot of these kids, it's just for a lack of having been seen, right, on this national stage. Like you see Darren Barnes, Zion Collins, a Howard recruit. Look at these guys. I mean, there's just no lack of ability, and I think what's great is that putting on this event at Verizon Center, some of these guys that may have not played in sold-out stadiums or across the country or national stages, they get to do that. Alan Treakle from Wakefield, heck of a player. Don FRAGALA, the leading scorer in the area. You've got him, in the lead-up game. I mean, this kid's averaging almost 40 a game, and so this is his chance, as you mentioned, the scholarship game, to be seen, to potentially catch on with a team. Jason Agner, you just saw him from WT Woodson, just won a state championship. So, and getting a chance to be seen alongside of some of this other talent, Jeremy, is so important. I think we've also got some highlights, of some of the other kids, that we mentioned as well, and that opportunity for them to be seen, even on a segment like this, is just so important to them.
And let's go ahead and we will move into our reveal, the Capital All-Star roster. And again, some of the fantastic players here. Pete, really some good guys here. Luka Garza, many good players going to show their wares in this game.
Yeah, Luka's going to Iowa. We've got G.J. Harvey, played at DeMatha, going to Notre Dame. Chris Likes, who's Player of the Year here, is from Gonzaga, is going to the University of Miami. He'll be playing against one of his future teammates at the University of Miami. So we're really excited about the quality of the kids that we have in the Capital All-Star game.
Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple highlights from this crew of players from that Capital All-Stars team. Of course, we mentioned Chris Likes. What a player.
Oh, absolutely. He's a 5'8" dynamo, and it's all about intensity and heart with Chris.
And you're talking here to a guy that went to George Mason that just missed the Final Four run and had Jim Larinaga, and I'm just so excited to see what he's going to do with Chris Likes. But Luka Garza, I mean, this kid is unstoppable.
Yeah, Luka is a beast inside. He is an absolute beast.
averaging almost 25 a game, you know, and headed to the next level at Iowa. DJ Harvey, you know, DeMatha is a brand name, and we had Morgan Wooten right earlier in our segment. Mike Jones doing an amazing job there, but this kid DeRugi, I mean, look at him dunk. He's a highlight reel. I can't wait to see him, you know, in action on that big stage, and you know, and the list just goes on and on with these kids, and it's just so exciting to see them paired up against each other, to see, you know, look, what does Quinton Drayton have to offer in a game like this? Michael SPEIGHT, a guy from Wise that doesn't maybe get a chance to play against some of these WCAC kids, and to see them, you know, get that opportunity, to me is really exciting.
Let's go ahead and take a look at our final roster, the U.S. All-Stars team, and of course a lot of big names on that one as well. We see a couple guys catching the eyes here. Of course, you see Matt Coleman going to Texas. Of course, Pete, a lot of big names going to a lot of big schools here.
Absolutely. We've got a couple guys, Demir Crosby, Roundtree, and Colin Gillespie going to Villanova, the standing national champions. We've got guys going to the University of North Carolina, Arizona, Daryl Morsell and Bruno Fernando, the two new incoming Maryland recruits that Mark Turgeon has. So we've got the best of the best coming in. Lonnie Walker going to Miami, who's going to be playing with Chris Lykes for Larinaga. He's a McDonald's All-American. So we've got a good team here. And the DMV is going to protect its turf, right? BJ referenced, you know, Kenny Anderson. That's the 1989 game. Kurt Smith stole that show. That was probably the most talked about, and still is, Capital Classic of all time.
Yeah, you know, and you mentioned it. Like, this is where kids come to make their name. Like, that's where he made his name early, right? Of course, we know who he is later in the game, but before then, maybe nobody had heard that much about a guy like that. And that's what excites me the most, is to see what are our local guys going to do, like you said, Pete, to protect this house. I'm really excited to see that.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap this one up. Before we do, want to go ahead and let everyone know about how to make sure they can watch this fantastic game. Pete, tell us about the information, how folks want to attend, buy tickets, how do they do it?
Yeah, so tickets are available on Ticketmaster. I think the easiest way to get there is via the Capital Classic website in the upper right corner. Just click on the banner for Ticketmaster. It'll take you there. You can also buy tickets at the box office at the Verizon Center.
And Pete, I know you are exceedingly fired up about this contest and this day, and everything you said, how much work you guys have put in. Really should be a fun day.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great day. It's a win-win situation for everybody. There is no loser of this game. Capital team is going to fight hard against the U.S. All-Americans. District, Suburban will showcase their skills, maybe for a scholarship. Everybody wins, and ultimately the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Washington win as well.
BJ, also you guys really fire up about the role you're playing.
Yeah, it's great because, you know, you should go to Verizon Center if you're local, right? Like, that's the best way to watch this game, is to get in there and get courtside and get a chance to see these kids in action. But if you can't, and if you're across the country, you know, DMVStream.com is the way to do it. Globally, if you're not just across the country, if you're across the world and you want to see this game, DMVStream.com is where to do it, and also on the Capital Classic Facebook page. So, you know, we're excited about being a part of this lineage, as I mentioned, that has been the game in the DC area. So, Pete, thank you for that opportunity and for bringing us on board, Pete.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention one more thing. This game is affordable, right? You're sitting in the lower level of the Verizon Center. Almost 95% of the seats are $25 for two high school games to see the best in the DMV against some of the best in the United States. So it's family affordable.
Should be a fun day. Pete DEOUDES, CFO of the Capital Classic and Hoop Culture. BJ Kubaroulas, founder of DMV Stream. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I'm Jeremy Huber, folks. April 8th, it's the Capital Classic at Verizon Center. It should be a good one. Don't miss it.